this is the Provoked Prawn, and this is a video to compare two affordable and fantastic XLR microphones. The Rode PodMic that you can see here in all its splendor, and the GoXLR microphone, which is a mic designed by the company behind GoXLR, and an interesting microphone that I've reviewed recently. Now, I have looked at both of these and I'll link to them in the description in a bit more depth so you can find out more. And in this video, I'm going to do a mic test. I'm using one of the microphones now for this voiceover, so throughout the entirety of the video you'll be able to hear the mics, and obviously that's an important part of it. They're also boom arm mountable, as you'll see from these shots, and interesting for a number of different reasons. Now, these are relatively comparable, and they're both powerable by something like the Razer audio mixer or the GoXLR Mini. Connect those up to your PC and you can get routable audio sources and interesting audio options for streamers and content creators like myself. So if you're looking to create awesome content and sound great doing it, then these are two interesting mics that are worth considering. Both excellent quality as well. So I was struck by the build quality of the Rode PodMic when I got out of the box. It's a hefty microphone. It weighs in at 937 grams, so it's pretty heavy, and yet fairly compact and small. You'll see some shots of it in a minute on the boom arm and close to my face to give a demo of how big it is, but it's pretty tiny, but yet has a lot of presence and looks really good. And it's interesting for a number of different reasons. Now, it has a decent frequency response of 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz, and the specs are slightly different. So the GoXLR microphone goes from 50 Hz to 18,000 Hz. And I'll leave all the specs of those sorts of things in the description. But what makes them interesting is the design differences. So you'll see that the GoXLR microphone has several different points on it where you can adjust the positioning of it. It also has a removable pop filter included as standard. But I really thought the mounting bracket was kind of curious because you can basically reposition the way it sits and the way it faces. Now, both these microphones are designed for you to talk into the top of them to give the best sound out of them. And I also found that obviously getting them onto a boom arm and close to your mouth is a good way of doing it, and to make it sound as rich as possible and to deliver a good audio capture. And the GoXLR microphone is curious because, as you just saw in those initial shots, it also comes with a number of different coloured bands in the box, so you can actually swap that out and change the look and feel of it. So you can see I was swapped out in the middle for this blue one instead of a silver ring, so immediately you can change that there. But what you can see is once you get it on a boom arm, you can then adjust the positioning of it. So not only on the boom arm's mounting system and the way that works, but also the microphone itself can be repositioned into different positions so you can get it in the right direction for your needs. And you can also choose whether you use the pop filter or not. I'd obviously recommend that you would, because it's there for a reason, and eliminate some of the pops from it. And as I'll show later on, both mics do suffer with a little bit of pickup in terms of shocks to the boom arm, so you do need to take care when using them, and it's worth bearing that in mind, or considering a shock mount system as a separate purchase. But if you've got a nice, good, solid quality boom arm, like the Blue Compass or the Rode PSA 1 Plus that you saw a minute ago, then you can get these mics up high and onto those and eliminate a lot of problems. Now, I'm going to be using the GoXLR Mini for the mic tests in a second, and I'll leave the setup settings in the description so you can check that out, as well as links to buy and find out more about these mics and the reviews, so be sure to look at those. But as you'll see, both excellent quality from multiple angles, both with a wonderful XLR setup, so easy connectivity if you have an XLR cable. Neither had an XLR cable included as standard though, so do bear that in mind. You will need an XLR cable and an XLR interface, as well as a boom arm, because neither of them have desk stands or mounts, so you do need a boom arm or a mic stand. So you need to purchase a lot of other things to go along with both these microphones, but when you do, you'll end up with a fantastic quality. And now I'm going to show you the difference between them, so stick with me to the end. And here I am with a GoXLR mic on a boom arm. So this is now a mic test with the GoXLR microphone, and you can see the positioning of where it is and how you're meant to talk into the top of it. And I am using the GoXLR Mini to power it, and I'll leave the setup for that in the description. Now, it's worth bearing that in mind immediately. Obviously, this is GoXLR mic into a GoXLR interface, but you can use any XLR microphone in that interface, and I've used a lot over time. But obviously the difference here is going to be you'll probably require ever so slightly different settings to something like the PodMic. So I've got the PodMic over here, and I'll get to that in a minute to talk about the differences between those two in terms of the audio capture. But they might require different tweaks, slightly different settings in order to getting sounding nice and having a good sound from them. But what you'll hear is a very rich sound from the GoXLR microphone. A really good warm sound comes out of it. It's really good at audio capture, and it seems to be pretty good at eliminating background noise, especially with the right settings in the software. Now, I also noted in the review of this video, and if I'm typing in the background while I'm talking just so you can hear what that's like, I noted in the review of this microphone that it was very comparable with the Shure SM7B in terms of the richness of the quality, and that you didn't need quite as much in order to power it, so it doesn't need as much gain in order to sound good, which is good because that means it picks up less background noise and things like that. Now, this is quite an affordable microphone, delivers good sound. One of the things I noted with the Rode PSA 1 Plus and the PodMic, which I'll show you in a second, is that if you accidentally knock the boom arm, the sounds come through to the microphone. Now, that does happen with this mic as well. I don't think it's quite as prominent, but you can definitely hear if you tap on it. Now, you won't be actively tapping on it, but if you're moving the mic around quite a lot, I found, for example, if I grab it, obviously that really shocks it. Now, that's something I'm actually quite used to being able to do with the Shure SM7B, but you can't do it with this mic, so you can't just grab it and move it around easily. It's worth bearing that in mind. It's quite sensitive in that way, but that will depend on your desk, your boom arm, your environment, and the settings that you've got set up, so it's worth bearing that in mind. But I think it does a good job of eliminating a lot of the background noise when you tweak it right, and also it sounds fantastic for this amount of money. And so it's also a good looking microphone with a really good setup in terms of this. So one of the things I was struck by when I got it out of the box and when I set it up initially, and just in general, is the sort of mounting system that you have. You have this clamp system, which is multi-point adjustable, so that you can basically turn it into the direction you want. So it's mounted on the boom arm, but it's also facing towards me because you have to talk into the top. Obviously, the benefit of a pop filter, and the other thing to know is when you get really close to it, it really changes the sound difference. So if I lean right back and I'm talking to it quite far away, it makes a significant difference in terms of the richness. Whereas if you come in really close, you can get like that broadcaster quality sound out of it. Really fantastic like this. If you're enjoying this video so far, smash that subscribe button. And here I am with the Rode PodMic. Now, this is on the Blue Compass boom arm, and so the boom arm's ever so slightly different, but if you want to hear what it sounds like on the PSA 1 Plus, be sure to check out the review that I'll link to in the description. But as you can see, this is a really nice looking microphone. They're quite different in terms of the style. You've seen some of the shots already. This is a very high quality looking microphone for the money, and it also sounds really rich. Now, I'll leave the settings for the GoXLR Mini, which again I'm using to power this microphone, in the description. So both can be powered by that device, and by the Razer Audio Mixer as an alternative is another one, or the Elgato Wave XLR. That interface would also work. So there are various different options to power this microphone and the GoXLR microphone. And as you can hear, again, a fantastic microphone. I don't think it sounds quite as rich, and it's worth bearing in mind that I'm trying to use settings that are roughly comparable. I don't think it has that sort of warmth to it that the GoXLR mic does. It's not quite as rich sounding, and even if I move back and talk into the mic, you can notice it even more. So if I get a bit closer than it is. Now, this doesn't have a external pop filter as standard, and the main thing that I did complain about in the review video is it picks up a lot of desk sounds a lot more. Now, it isn't quite so bad on the Blue Compass boom arm, which is admittedly a bit more sort of heavy duty than the Rode PSA, but you can see you can sort of grab it a bit more, move it around without making quite as many obnoxious noises as I did with the GoXLR mic, but sturdier boom arm. But it is on the same desk, so they're both on the same desk. Obviously, you can see this one's still over here, so slightly different setup in there. But in terms of the audio quality, I think the GoXLR is nicer. However, they are both rich sounding microphones and wonderful looking and really good build quality, and also very customizable in terms of the sound that you can do within the settings and what you can get out of it. As I said, I'll put all the settings that I've used for both mics in the description so you can compare, tweak the settings and try out to work out what settings work best for you in your environment when you get your hands on one of the mics. Hopefully this has been a useful insight for you. Let me know in the comments if you've got any questions. And I want to give a quick shout out and thanks to my special YouTube members who have clicked the join button to help support the channel, and those guys really help out each month by donating a small amount in return for wonderful access to early access videos and also a variety of other things. Pop over to my Discord and say hello. This has been the Provoked Prawn. Thanks for watching. This has been the Provoked Prawn. Hope you found this video useful, interesting, hilarious, or otherwise. Take a look at these other videos that I think you might find interesting as well. And have a look at the description for links and other information you might find useful. Click that join button to see the benefits of being a member of my YouTube channel. And most importantly, have a great life.